Good morning here in the hangar. Still working on the modifications here to the wing. So we've got that rib removed. We've got the fabric transition tab over here. We have put our rib nuts in. So now what we've got to do is we've got to trim this piece back to the third rib. So we'll do that this morning, and then we've got a sheet cut here. It doesn't have any of the holes, so we got to do a bunch of transfer holes, which I'll show you a tool we used to do that with. So yeah, so that's going to be our next step here. Is we're going to take this piece off, trim it, put it back on, get it in place, and then we'll put the holes in this piece. Alright, we got that piece cut back to here where we wanted it. So the next step is we'll drill, deburr these rivet holes, and then these are hand squeezed rivets, so we'll put those in as well. And we'll leave this row open because this is going to overlap like that on this hole. But other than that, it's starting to come together. Alright, we got the main 1/8 rivets in this short piece here. The next step is we're going to go through and put these hand squeeze rivets. Now these holes do not get drilled out to 1/8. They stay number 40, and then we just hand squeeze these in. Once we get that done, we'll go all the way up to this part, because this piece right here is going to slide under that piece and over that piece. So once we get the holes put in this, we'll do the same thing there. Alright, we got almost all of these. I got one more here where that cleco is. So we got all of our hand squeeze rivets in, and it's kind of, you just get a feel for kind of how much pressure to put on. And you know, you don't want to flatten the top, you don't want to create dimples, so you kind of get a feel for it. I use these Nipix pliers because the jaws stay parallel, and I just, you know, once you get it in there, push down on the top to make sure it's seated. Take your finger under to just kind of make sure the sheet metal is closed, and then squeeze. Just kind of, you'll kind of figure out how much pressure to put. And the goal is that you can actually feel the rivet. I squeezed a couple where I didn't close this together, so I had to take them back out. But make sure the rivet, small body, is crimping the metal together. So next step is we're going to move over to this one. I kind of got this piece laid in place. I'm going to use some transfer. I'll get them over here to show you. I think I got a number 40. So we'll get this piece kind of squared and clamped in place, and then there's a number 40 hole here. So we'll just kind of up. I'm doing this with one hand. Kind of put that where we want it. Drill that. Put a cleco there. We'll do it a couple of times down through there, and then we'll come back and really dial in kind of where we want these screws and or these rivets. And once we do that, this piece will be ready to rivet in. And it too has hand squeeze rivets all along this line, kind of like that one. That small piece there does. So we'll start transferring screws or rivet holes. We first we clamped our piece in place with these Cleco clamps where we want to get this piece flush with these edges. Then we transferred some of the main holes to get this piece lined up. The next step is we got to transfer some of these ribs, holes, and then this entire line. And it's pretty dense. It's about inch and a half spacing. So there's a lot of holes in there. So that'll be the next step, is just continue transferring all those holes. Once we're done there, we'll take it off, deburr it, and then put it on for the final time. We got the hand pressed rivets in, rest of these rivets in. Got all of these holes matched to the wing. So remember, this part we are adding because we are opening a bay. So we took that second rib out. So we actually the gas tank's going to go from the inboard rib to the third rib. So rib 1 to rib 3. Next step is we've got to space these holes across this stringer, kind of like this one is back here. So we got to run holes all the way. There's no holes in the stringer, so I can't just transfer those holes to this piece. So I've got to lay out the pattern. So I'm using this hole pattern template to do that. So we'll run holes. It's about every inch and a half down through here. It's a little bit more than an inch and a half, all the way down this side and connect here. So that's what I'm going to do next. We got the holes transferred, Clecoed in. The next step is every other hole here is going to get a rib nut to put the gas tank lid on. So since where I have Clecos, those are going to get rib nuts. I'm going to drill out and deburr the center holes, and then we will come back and drill out and put the rib nuts in every other hole. We got the rib nuts put in, got everything set for this bottom piece. Now the next step is I pulled it off the rotisserie a little prematurely, even though it kind of helped stabilize this while I did this work. I've got to change out this drag tube and put a compression tube in right here, and once I do that, I should be done with this wing. I've got to go clean up some rivets and stuff, some of these under ribs and stuff, but other than that, this wing will be done. Then we'll start on that wing. All right, so we pulled out this round drag tube and we're going to replace it with this square one. It's got the same angle cut, opposing angles on each corner. The holes I've got to match drill those. So what I'm going to do is drill the one that's up in the leading edge first, so I can get, because it's hard to get to, and then I'll final match drill that in there. And the reason why we're going from round to square is to give us a better seating for the flange on that extended tank. So that's kind of why we have to do this. So the next step is we're gonna drill these ends out, replace this round tube with this 1-inch square tube. Okay, got the tube in, got the got this one fitted up with the bracket riveted and high sawed in, so that's gonna, I'll let that dry overnight. What I'm gonna do now is make the little bracket that's gonna kind of tee off this kind of compression tube, drag tube combination to make sure we have enough rigidity in this bay right here. So I've got the little bracket piece here. I'm going to put some dicom on it, scribe out where there's going to be 2 holes for the drag tube, and then I'm just going to put one in the compression tube. So it's just what it's going to do. It's going to be compressed, so it'll be really compressed up against the drag tube and the spar. So you have 2 rivets here, 1 rivet here. Scribe those out, drill them, deburr them, match drill them to the drag tube and the compression tube. Put them on. We should be good to go. All right, the conversion to extended tank is done on this wing. The only thing I've got left is I've got to get a longer drill bit to drill the through that compression tube and put a AN3 bolt in there, and we'll be done with that. The bracket turned out great. So next thing I'll video, I might show a picture of that tank setting in this bay when I get it. I've got some on the way, so we'll have a 23-gallon tank there instead of a 13-gallon tank. And then this will wrap up this little video, this video clip at least, and then the next one we'll start on this one. Kind of got the spars lined up. Going to talk through how to put the I-beam in and all that. So thanks guys. If you hadn't liked or subscribed, please do so, and that way other people can see this content, and we can build airplanes together. Thanks.